Hi Aries, welcome to your September 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And also just to let you guys know, I actually won't be offering personal readings for a bit. It's possible that by the time I start posting the October videos, I'll start picking them up around that time. At the very least, I'll give you guys an update when I post those videos, if I'll be starting them up at that time or not. At the latest, it'd probably be early October. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. And for those of you who haven't seen this type of spread before, this is what I call a bridge in the gap spread. And the way it works is on the left side, we have the cards that represent your energies towards the connection with your main love interest. On the right side, we have cards that represent their energy toward the connection. And then these are the past energies, present energies, future energies. And once we're through all of those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As for the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. Alright, so with all that out of the way, let's get started with your main spread. In the past position, we have the Three of Arrows. So this is the equivalent of the Three of Swords in the regular tarot deck. And so to me this says that there was some ending between you and this person in the past. Or it could have possibly been the fact that, maybe you were still recovering from an ending with someone else that might have been holding back the connection with you and this person in the past. But either way, what stands out to me the most with this is, with this being in the past energy, we do see the three arrows going through the heart, right? We see the storm. It looks like there's some lightning there, stormy waters below. And this person, if we look at her facial expression, she doesn't seem to have any interest in actually looking at those hearts, at the heart rather, right? So to me, it's like not wanting to deal with the heartbreak is the main vibe I'm picking up on there, not wanting to necessarily look at it and heal it, process it. So that's what I'm feeling, that in the past, either, like I said, it was directly with the person you were dealing with that there was an ending, or you hadn't gotten over an ending from another connection that might have been holding back this connection. All right, the past energy on their side, we have the Queen of Chalices, which is the equivalent of the Queen of Cups, and the Death card. So, with these two cards together, normally this is a court card for Cancer for me, so some of you could have been dealing with the Cancer, or maybe this was even a connection that was deep enough to where you guys might have been living together, since for you guys, Cancer represents your fourth house. And then with the Death card here, while it doesn't always mean an ending necessarily, this definitely looks pretty dark, right? The energy, like the person's facial expression and everything. So this definitely could have been an ending. Some of you could have been dealing with a Scorpio, since this is a Scorpio card, and maybe they were the ones who ended the connection with you. And then maybe this is just more pointing to a timeline, that maybe this happened during the time of Cancer. And if this is just timeline related to, as opposed to any specific sign you might have been dealing with, this could also be pointing to the time of Cancer as well, because the full moon during Cancer season was actually pretty much conjunct Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, and that was in your 10th house of career and social status. So if you think of social status as single or in a relationship, right, or single or married, maybe there was an ending around that full moon that some of you guys might have experienced. And you might have really been reluctant to look at that and heal it. If that's the case, the good news is, in the present, on your side, we do see Triumph, which is the equivalent of the World card, and Magic, which is the equivalent of the Magician. So pretty solid cards to have. I basically have the last card, numbered card anyway, in the Major Arcana, and the first numbered card in the Major Arcana. We have the Fool in between them, which is the 0, but to me that says that, especially with the name Triumph, this shows that you overcame rather, this heartbreak that you were going through, and now you're ready to manifest something new. Now, can it be with the same person? It's certainly a possibility, yes. Because with the World card here, maybe it's saying that there were some lessons and some growth that you guys needed to go through, especially here with the Triumph card, because the story of this card with this particular deck does involve, triumph over obstacles. So it can just be saying that maybe there were obstacles in your connection in the past, especially for, like I said, for those of you, maybe it was just that this connection wasn't getting off the ground with this person because there was heartbreak from someone else that you still hadn't really processed, and now through processing that, that allows you to manifest a connection with them. But yeah, so it could play out both ways. Since this does tend to be a connection with this type of reading where I'm really looking at one person and another as opposed to multiple people, it can definitely say that you might have a new start with that person from your past. All right, now for the present position on their side, they actually have the Justice card. So this is the major arcana card for Libra. For some of you, that could point to a timeline as well, maybe saying that as Libra season starts, you might have some justice in the situation. But, we also think about balance when we think of the Libra energy, right? With the scales there, and we do see the balance of those scales. So this could be them coming in with communication, especially with that sword card there, and maybe balancing the scales in the process, right? So let's say if they did sever ties with you and maybe they realized that they were in the wrong, right? Maybe this could be them coming around to express that. And, even if not to necessarily pick things up with you, it looks like that'll give you some kind of closure and enable you to move on with that magician energy, right? Or for others of you, it can be them seeing you moving on and succeeding, and maybe that's a justice for them as far as, if they were the one who did you wrong, now they're seeing you move on and be successful, right? And that's karmic justice on their behalf. But for a lot of you, I'm picking up more on the vibe of the first thing, which is that they might be coming in to communicate to you. Now, it's unclear at this point if that's to try to reestablish the bond with you or just to them communicating, hey, I was in the wrong. If that's what ends up freeing you. But it looks like either way, it is going to benefit you, um, regardless of the scenario there. All right, and then in the future position on your side, we have the Nine of Coins, which is the equivalent of the Nine of Pentacles. And we have Balance, which is actually the equivalent of the Temperance card. So this is a Sagittarius energy here. So maybe this is pointing to the fact that we do have Jupiter moving forward again in the sign of Sagittarius, which is your ninth house. So maybe there's some freedom and opportunity there. We have the 9 energy here too with the 9 of coins. So thinking about ninth house, the 9. So maybe this could just be saying that, maybe the whole thing that you had to learn in the past might have been self-love, for example, right? So, because to me, the 9 of coins is definitely about being happy with yourself. And you know what they say, sometimes when you're actually happy with yourself, when you love yourself, that could actually bring more love into your life. So with that balance, that could just be saying that, because you've actually gotten to that point in your life, now you actually achieved that balanced connection with someone else. And it could definitely be a water sign you're dealing with because we saw that in the past, like I said. And then if we look at the background here, we do see a fire energy behind him, right? And then behind her, we see a water energy. So you could definitely absolutely that could be confirmation for some of you if you are dealing with a water sign, that you guys might end up reuniting with that water sign. Now, the Nine of Coins also does represent freedom and independence to an extent as well. So, for others of you, if you really do feel, like I was saying, for those of you where them just coming back around gave you the closure that you needed, that can just be saying that frees you in that regard. So that could be another way it's playing out. But for a lot of you, I really feel like this is someone coming back around and getting things off the ground with you. Because, especially with that Three of Swords energy too, it's like she's refusing to look at those arrows going through the heart, right? And it's like, well, that's not going to make the situation any better, right? So you're just going to wait around for someone else to pull those arrows out for you, or you're going to do it on your own, right? So that could be, for those of you, if this was a matter of self-love, right? And that might have been the issue in the past. And at the bottom of the deck, we do have the Prince of Coins, which is actually a Virgo energy. So again, this could just be pointing to a timeline strictly, saying that yes, we are dealing with Virgo season right now, and there's a lot of energy in Virgo as well, and that being your natural sixth house as well, it could just be pointing to that, saying that that's what you're focused on. You're focused on your day-to-day routines, your work life, your health, for example. That could be ways it's playing out, but This can just be something that you've held on to for a long time as well, because if we think about the Knight of Pentacles energy, it's the slowest moving knight. So this could have been something you've really worked on for a long time. Maybe if it was healing from this wound, maybe it took you a long time. But yeah, that could be the way it's playing out. And then on their side in the future, we actually have the Nine of Chalices, which is the equivalent of the Nine of Cups. So definitely seems like they're happy with the way things turned out in the end as well. So that's why I say for most of you, I feel like it will be a reconciliation of sorts. Like I said, whether this was the actual person who broke up with you in the past, or it was just that the two of you couldn't really get any traction because there was something else from your past you hadn't really gotten over yet. And now they're seeing that you are ready, so maybe they're coming back in now thinking, okay, it looks like they're ready now and they're going to give it another go with you. But either way, the Nine of Chalices energy is definitely a pretty positive sign. You know, it points to fertility, prosperity, with the pomegranate we see there as well. So something to think about. And then the bottom of the deck on their side, we actually have the Nine of Wands. So interestingly enough, that's actually it represents the middle 10 degrees of Sagittarius, and that's where Jupiter is going direct now. So that could be pointing to that. For some of you, that can just be saying that maybe there is some Sagittarius energy, maybe with you or that other person. But more than anything, what I see here is that Nine of Wands energy is kind of like putting up a fight. Maybe not like the Seven of Wands per se, but it's like, all right, living to fight another day, basically. So this could just be them trying to right the wrong and trying to communicate. Now, if that's the case, what I pick up on with the energy between these two, it looks like the male energy here, the masculine energy, might be a little bit more reluctant to jump in, right? Like if we look at her body language, she has her arms around him. It looks like he's putting one of his hands over her mouth. So, you know, if that's how it's playing out for you guys, let's say, you know, you were the masculine energy in this case and this was the feminine energy and they come back around, you know, you might be a little reluctant to hear them out at first, but it does look like you guys have moved past that pretty quickly and you'll see some positive progress. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, I'll try to pull some from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck that we have here. And for those of you who haven't seen these videos before, what I do is I pre-shuffle them before we start recording, and then I actually shuffle for a bit, try to get some jumpers. And basically, first I'll be looking for any unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. Oh, got one there. Oh, and now we'll see if we have any unspoken messages from them toward you. All right, nothing coming up. Oh, there we go. We actually got one, but it fell. So give me a second to pick that up. We'll see what it says. All right. So from you to them, we have, I don't know if I can meet your expectations. So this again makes me think of the whole self-love thing that we were talking about, where I feel like maybe in the past, and maybe that's even what that Queen of Chalices energy is representing, saying that maybe you put them up on a pedestal in the past, and maybe that was part of the problem, right? If you put someone up on a pedestal, there's no way to go for them but down, right? So there could have been some disappointment there. And then if that's the case, I do feel that that's definitely more tied to the past, because in the present we have the Triumph along with the Magician energy, and then the Nine of Coins, which again, like I said, is definitely more of an energy of self-love, and then the balance as well. So yeah, that could definitely just be pointing to more in the past, that maybe that's how you were feeling, and that might have been what was causing the issue. Like I said, maybe it was just a karmic thing. You had to learn self-love before you could actually progress into a connection with the person. And then their message towards you is, I wish I could take back the things I said. So maybe it's one of those things where maybe there was actually some kind of harsh communication, right? Especially with that death card energy. They could have been pretty harsh with you with the way they ended things. Because, like I said, this death card in particular, like this does not look like someone you'd want to mess with, right? So, they could have been really harsh with you in the past, and that could be where the justice energy is coming in for them, as far as maybe they're coming to a realization about that and realizing that they do have to come in and fix things. Like I said, even if they have no interest in being with you per se, for a lot of you, I think they do, and I think the feeling is mutual. But even if they don't, it could just be them realizing that, you know what, I have to actually make this right and tell them that I'm sorry, whatever the case may be. And then that looks like you get forward movement, whether it be with them or with someone else. All right. And lastly, we'll pull one card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And for those of you who watch my regular readings, you're probably used to that deck already. Same situation. I did pre-shuffle this one before we started recording, but I'll just try to get one jumper here to help tie everything together, and then we'll wrap up. All right, give it a few more shuffles. Worst case, I can pull a random one, but I do prefer to get jumpers with this deck if I can. Oh, there we go. Actually got two, chop wood and come to the edge. All right, so we'll read chop wood first. There's the actual card itself, their artwork, and 42 is the number. For those of you who were born April 2nd, maybe this will resonate for you a little bit more, but we'll see. Okay, it says, being grounded in everyday experience, humility. The Oracle's message. There are times when the big dream is meant to lie dormant in your consciousness so that you can pay attention to the simple chores in your life. Consider why pruning a tree is the forerunner of delighting in the beautiful blooms when it is in full blossom. The mundane act of pulling off dead leaves, watering the soil, and then leaving it be to let nature take its course is an important step in manifestation. Taking your attention away from your goal brings you into a state of receptivity. This is the deeper purpose of releasing attachment. When you engage in everyday tasks in a meditative, contemplative way, you clear your energy to receive your aha moments, which bring you ever closer to what you seek. Wow, that's awesome. That actually, to me, speaks exactly to what we were talking about with the Three of Arrows energy, right? That there was something in your past that you needed to work on healing, right? So that was the chopping wood aspect there, like doing the work, the everyday work, and then waiting, for the beautiful blooms to come from there. We see that with the Triumph and the Magician. So definitely seems to support the energies there, and even going into the Nine of Coins energy, right, that we see in the future with the balance. So let's see what the relationship message itself says. It says, nothing is as important right now as just doing what you need to do day to day. Let your heart remember that not everything has to be hard won, passionate, or even obviously meaningful. Relationships and friendships go through lulls when the everyday tasks are at the center of awareness. This is perfect now. Hold hands, wash dishes, make a fire, read a book, share a meal, say nothing, stare into space, pick up socks, tell a dumb joke, and leave space to breathe. The work of your relationship right now is very simple, just to be present. Funny how it takes work to just be. All is well, really. So, pretty cool message there. I mean, to me, that first thing that we read was definitely really potent as far as matching up with what we saw in the reading there, but hopefully that other message resonated with you as well. Next one we have is Come to the Edge. There's the artwork for it. and the number is 36. We'll see what that says. Okay, it says courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. The Oracle's message. Facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You are called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. So, pretty interesting message there. That almost reminds me of the Fool energy, and it is interesting that we had the two cards, like I said, that come between the Fool and the Major Arcana. We have the 21 and the 1, with the 0 basically meant to be in between those two. So, could be something related to that there. Then the relationship message says it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You will be glad you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step towards the gods and they will deliver what you truly desire. So, pretty cool message there. And, maybe even that's what it's about too, right? Is saying not wanting to be vulnerable, right? Maybe that's what the Three of Arrows was in the past, and not wanting to let someone know that you were hurt by them, for example. Maybe that's what was going on there. Maybe it's saying that that's part of it too. You have to be willing to be open and vulnerable in those types of connections. All right, guys, so we'll wrap up there. Hopefully, all of that resonated for you, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.